As daughters of God, we need to be able to talk to other women who will be authentic about their story. And guess what? This is the safe space just for that. Welcome to my page, Kelly J. Bell. And if you're listening on the podcast, Pursue Her Podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Kelly Bell. I'm a kingdom strategist and I specialize in strengthening and repairing families by working with women specifically. Now, as women, we juggle a whole lot of roles. Right. And that is what a lot of what I want to talk about is how do we balance all these roles? How do we do everything that's on our plate? Have friendships, get the bag, or whatever your goals are. Just be true and authentic to yourself. And one of the things that I've realized over the years, I'm also a life coach with working with women, is a lot of times a lot of women lose themselves within their roles, right? Trying to balance it out because let's be honest, some of our roles demand more of our time than some of our other roles. So whatever takes of our time, that's what we tend to put our focus on, but we have to be intentional in operating in our other roles effectively. Now, regardless of what your roles are, I want to really spend time in focusing on one of our most important roles, and that is as a daughter of God. That is the foundation upon which we're able to do everything that we have to do on our plate and just complete honesty. So how do we move forward for that? What is this podcast going to be about? What are you going to learn from this YouTube channel? And that is specifically that God being the foundation of everything that you've created to do, because there is more that he has for us to do as his daughters. So a couple of points that I want to touch on today, I'm not going to be before you long, is one, we have to understand and realize, as I stated, our most important role is as a daughter of God. And we have to be intentional in cultivating that relationship, right? Because at times, being a daughter of God and cultivating our relationship with God sometimes is not a priority. And what I mean by that is it's not something that just pulls on us, right? Say, for example, for us who are mothers, our kids pull on us. We don't have a choice at times to be a mother because they're there. They need something. It's just right in front of our face. So we are intentional of meeting the needs of our kids as well as as wives. Our husbands are right there. It's evident what they need, what they want. They vocalize it. But when you have your relationship with God, God is like, he's there. And he's waiting for you to come to him at times. He's waiting for you to stop what you're doing, to go to your prayer closet, to sit in your car, wherever it is that you spend time with God in the shower. He's waiting for you to be intentional to connect with him. And we have to make sure as we're going into this year and everything else that God has called for us to do, that we are making that time to cultivate our relationship with him. Okay? He is the source of our strength. You know, last year, for many women that I've spoken to and for myself, was a year full of all kind of transitions. Okay, good ones, bad ones, whatever, uncomfortable ones, joyful ones. It was just full of transitions. And what we've done before as daughters of God to help sustain us in the past, we're going to all have to take it up another notch moving forward. What God has called for us to do, our one-on-one time with him, because he is our strength. He is our source. He has to be your everything. You have to rely on him and being intentional in that relationship to make sure that you're doing that. Now, I want you to think about it this way. When you look at all the roles, everything that you have on your plate that you have to do, if you were to look at it, let's say on a weekly basis, how much time, or let's say this, what takes the majority of your time? You think about it, whether you're in a car driving kids back and forth, whether it's your job, whether it's your career, your business, my entrepreneur, what takes majority of your time? Really think about that. And for those women who identify as being daughters of God, look at it on a weekly schedule and how much of your time do you intentionally spend with God? And I'm not just talking about going to Bible study or just going to church, because those are things that help us develop in our relationship because we learn more about God. We get to fellowship with other saints, which is amazing. But how much of your time within a week frame is dedicated to just you and God and not while you're multitasking? Right? So think about that. And I just want to charge you to increase that even the more as we're going through this year. Now, My podcast is called Pursue Her, and it's Pursue Her being heroic, empowered, and resilient. These are characteristics that I believe that are foundational, and I guess you could just say foundational in your relationship with God. It's aspects of us living. When life happens, we have to bounce back. We have to walk with confidence. We got to be courageous in the different aspects of our lives and roles. But the key word is pursue. You have to go after it. You have to be intentional. Being resilient is not just about being, oh, I'm strong, I'm able to bounce back, but even in your resiliency, are you healed, baby girl? Are you healed? Or are you going through life with walls up and defense mechanisms because that's your way of being strong and that's your way of being resilient? There is a way that we still have to bounce back as daughters of God, but can we do that from a place of wholeness, or are we doing that from a place of trauma or bitterness? But being able to stop and take the time to even process those feelings is work all within itself. But I want us to be intentional to pursue after being heroic and being courageous, whatever that looks like. Being empowered, walking in full confidence in what God has for you to do. This is not the year, and it's never been the year or the time to compare yourself and your journey with anybody else. God has something destined just for you to do, and you cannot compare your journey to the next woman or the next person that's around here because you're looking at from what you see their lives and what they have going on. But can you walk with confidence? Can you walk with assertiveness? Are you walking in excellence? So I'm going to spend a lot of time on this channel and on this podcast talking about those characteristics and how we can exemplify being heroic, empowered, and resilient as daughters of God, as wives, as mothers, as entrepreneurs, but really focusing on why those characteristics are beneficial as we focus on our family unit, because our families really matter. So one of the reasons why I really am creating this safe space and why I want to have this authentic conversation, because I know for me, when I was going through challenges of just when I first started becoming a wife, I've been married going on 16 years, going on 17 years. The challenges of marriage, the challenges of motherhood, the challenges of just finding myself. And so many times, I'm born and raised in a church. So you're taught to, go to the first ladies, go to the evangelists, go to the mothers of the church, to talk to them, to get advice, to ask them their opinion on things. And so many times I was just met with, here's some scripture, the colloquialisms, God will give you more. God won't give you more than you can bear. And I'm sitting here like, I need a little bit more. Like, I know the Bible. I one of my masters is in Christian studies, right? So I've been through seminary. It's not me not knowing the Bible, but what do I do in those seasons when I don't feel like reading my Bible? What do I do in the seasons when I feel like I can't get a praise out of me because life has been lifing so much? I needed somebody to tell me how. I needed somebody to give me practical strategies on how to implement it with my biblical principles so that I could be the best version of myself. And unfortunately, you don't run into a whole lot of women who are truly authentic. Whether it's in the body of Christ or period across the board. And I told God, as he helped me go through different challenges and through different seasons of my life, I said, God, as you give me the strategies, you give me the tips and the resources to figure out how to do it, I'm going to tell everybody who want to know. This is not the season in the sense to be like, oh, I don't want to tell my business. We need transparency. We talk about the power of testimonies, but then we don't want to give our testimonies, or we give sugar-coated testimony because you're worried about what somebody else going to say. Ain't nobody got time for that. In this season, in this hour, we need each other. We learn from each other. We need to see how women overcame certain things within their marriages, how they're balancing with parenting. We need it. So that is what I want to be able to provide for the women who want it, who want to know, who's ready to go to that next level. Before we kind of wrap up, God is doing something amazing in this season, and he is going to use his daughters in a way where miracle signs and wonders are going to take place from our obedience from him. He's going to use us. But one of the things that God shared with me is that he needs his daughters to be healed so that we can walk in our purpose. He needs us to overcome our childhood trauma, whether you realize you have trauma or not. He needs us to deal with suppressed and repressed feelings and emotions and experiences. He needs us to be whole. He needs us to be whole, willing and ready and able to do the work through the self-awareness. I know 2023 was a year for me to go to another level of God cleaning out my heart, showing me what was in me, what things had I just pushed in the back burner, I guess you could say, and just I kept doing life because life is going. I'm still gonna handle business. I don't have time to sit down, right? But God showing me, Kelly, these are things I need you to work on. This is what I need for you to do. This is the aspects. These are the characteristic traits. These are the skills and the qualities I need you to define as I'm getting ready to take you into another season of your purpose. And I truly believe that that is what God is doing. And He's raising up women. I know you see it. You see it on people's Instagrams. You see it as they're posting. People in your personal life, they feel this unction to go, because it is go time. And there is a part of it, though, as many of us are waiting for the manifestations and the promises of God to manifest, He is preparing us, right? It's just the preparation time. And we need to take heed to it because we don't want to miss what God is about to do because we're thinking we have time, or we can just sit and wait. So on this show, on this podcast, we are going to talk about biblical principles as well as practical strategies to get you to your desired results, to show you how to do stuff, to how to overcome hurt, how to overcome betrayal, how to deal with these kids. I'm a mother of 4 boys. So dealing with these kids and being everything you need to be, being a friend, being a mother, just being everything, but ultimately being a daughter of God and understanding what that means, because that is the foundation upon which you are able to do anything. You can do nothing without Him sustaining you. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure, if you have not listened to season 1 and season 2 of Pursue Her podcast, which is on most platform streaming networks. I'm not editing it out. Make sure you go and listen to season 1 and season 2 to kind of get caught up. Subscribe, because I am ready to have real, authentic, and transparent conversation. And we're going to help one another as women and as daughters of God to get to the next level of what God has for us. It's go time, baby.